In this video, I'm going to be talking about different color deficiencies, the kind that you can inherit, the kind that you can develop, and different things like that. So you might have heard of red-green color blindness or red-green color deficiency. There's also blue-yellow color blindness or blue-yellow color deficiency. So let's break that down. You can have different types of colored cone photoreceptors in your retina. You've got three primary ones. You've got red cones, blue cones, and green cones. You might often see this displayed in a TV setting, like an RGB setting. That's because that's how the human eyes interpret color vision. They interpret reds, greens, and blues, and different combinations of those colors. Some people, like with red-green color deficiencies, for example, can have a more difficult time interpreting reds, or a difficult time interpreting greens, or yellows, or different things like that along the way that have some level of blending of the two. And it's very interesting because let's say you were red-green colorblind from birth, and you may not understand what the color red is, even though other people around you may not be colorblind or color deficient, and what is assumed to be red is red to them, but it's not red to you. Your red looks completely different than their red. And this is where it gets really interesting on the perception-driven science behind color deficiencies. So let's go back to the red, greens, and blues again. In the macula, your center of vision, where you have macular degeneration that can develop in some people, there are no blue cones in the macula. There's only reds and greens. You've got blue cones that are scattered throughout the entire retina, but not in the macula, because blue cones absorb a high amount of energy from the blue light that's emitted in order to help you see better. And there may have been different settings in video games now that you can see protan, deutan, and tritan. So what does that even mean? So protan means that someone's going to have a difficult time distinguishing reds. Deutan means someone's going to have a difficult time distinguishing greens. And tritan means that someone's going to have a difficult time distinguishing blues. So what about protanopia versus protanomalous? So protanopia, I think of it like nope, meaning that there is a reduction or a complete elimination of the red cones that someone does not have in their retina, thus they cannot determine the color red. Protanomalous means that there are some red cones, but they're not functioning correctly, or at least there's a normal number of them, but they're not functioning to the degree that they need to, so they still have a difficult time determining reds. This type of testing can be determined in color vision testing, such as the Farnsworth and different things like that, to determine if you're protanomalous or protanopia, or deuteranomalous, which is green, or deuteranopia, tritanomalous, tritanopia. So those different terminologies can help distinguish what someone wrestles with as far as color deficiency. You can also have something called achromatopsia. So achromatopsia having to do with all of the cones in the retina not functioning correctly. So this person can only see shades of black, white, or gray, or different things like that. And it's very interesting when you talk with someone that has a color deficiency, because the way that they see the world and interpret it and understand it is going to look completely different than how you interpret it. There are different filters and shades and glasses and different things that can help someone with these color deficiencies see differently and interpret vision in a very different, colorful way that can actually help them understand what those colors may actually look like by enhancing the working cones or the working photoreceptors that interpret color vision. Think about it like this. Let's say you pull up to a traffic signal and you've got, at least in the United States, we've got red, yellow, and green lights, okay? So what happens when someone with a red-green color deficiency pulls up to a traffic signal and they see red, yellow, and green lights in the order in which that they're designed? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because all of those lights might look a little bit yellow to them, and they need to know the bottom one's go and the top one, at least where I'm at in Missouri, the top one's, I can't talk, the bottom one is go, the top one is stop, and the middle one means caution or slow down, basically. Now, a lot of times the middle one can mean, for a lot of people, mean speed up or floor it to get through the light, but the way that someone interprets the color of these lights or signals is going to be very different than someone that does not have a color deficiency. So this is where perception comes into key with all of this. Color vision deficiencies can also be detected from a very early age, especially like, let's say you're watching your child play with different color blocks or toys or different things, and they're able to either separate and differentiate the reds, the blues, the greens, the yellows, the pinks, the orange, the purples, different things like that, but they're crisscrossing a lot of them or confusing a lot of them. That would be something to take your child to your nearest eye care professional, optometrist or ophthalmologist, for a complete comprehensive eye health exam to see how they're seeing. And let's take eye drop bottle colored pops, for example. So dilation drops, they typically have a red cap on them. And let's say like a glaucoma drug, like timolol, may have a yellow cap to it. So what does this look like to someone that has color vision deficiencies in the red-green category? Well, this can mean that the reds and the yellows, those cap colors can look the same. Now let's talk about blue-yellow color deficiencies. So blue-yellow color deficiencies are usually acquired. They're not usually genetic and usually by some type of chemical or toxic material exposure that renders the blue cones not as functional as they once were, because those blue cones are already absorbing a high amount of light energy down into the blue light spectrum. But when someone has blue-yellow deficiencies, they're going to have a hard time differentiating blues and yellows and shades of everything like that. I don't see it as commonly, and you don't hear blue-yellow as common. Typically, you hear of red-green as more common because usually, I believe this is the statistic out there suggests that up to 8% of men around the world might have a red-green color deficiency, whereas maybe only like 0.4% of women in the world have a red-green color deficiency. And blue-yellow can be very mixed depending on the case and situation that is developed, but it's usually not an inherited one, it's an acquired one. And there's other color vision tests out there to determine what type of color deficiency you have. A very popular one that's been around for a while is called Ishihara. There's another one called HRR, different ones like that out there. An eye care professional typically administers these tests in order to determine what type of color deficiency somebody has. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell for notifications and to learn more about your eyes. I'm Dr. Bryce Effington. We'll see you next time.